And good afternoon, everyone. Or is it still morning? Not sure which. Anyways, this is Tom with Builds by Tom, and behind me right now is my 3D printer. I'm doing a print of an extra Nomad model, the body specifically, for Simon. We'll see how that goes. Trying to go ahead and perfect it. Basically, I'm having some issues as it's printing, so. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm about to go ahead and start working on. So, for those that are familiar with the 1979 TV series called Salvage 1, here's the Vulture. Alright, so here you have the Vulture and all of its different parts, as well as a couple of other things that I've been working on in here. So, what I'll be doing is cementing the various different pieces together, like the capsule area for the Vulture, which was a cement mixer, the main body, oops, there we go, which was a Texaco oil tanker, and the various different engine modules, including the bells for the engines. I have down here a moon representation here. I'll also be making copies of the lunar modules, as well as parts, as you may be able to see here, to the rover, or not rover, but the what do they call it? The moon buggy. So, time to have a little bit of fun. Glue in choice is 3D Gloop. It's a fairly quick drying, so you don't have long once you go ahead and touch it up, so if you know what I mean. So, kind of getting things out of place. And of course, always wanted to do kind of a test fit. Unfortunately, there's no registries on these guys, so. And it goes on like the good old-fashioned rubber cement like you might have used in elementary school. But it's a lot stronger. And that's the first piece. I'll go ahead and I'll clean these up here afterwards. No, those two don't go together. Guess I got lucky with the first one. Those two do. Alright. Yeah, if you've never heard of the 3D Gloop, I think I got this from Makers. Can't get it off of Amazon. Alright, there's these two. Let me double check here real quick. And the writing's so small that even with my glasses I can't necessarily read it. It's put out by 3dgloop.com. It's not cheap. The 120 milliliter or 4-ounce container here was 30 bucks. But that being said, like I said, it's strong, it's fast. I like it much better than CA, because it is more resilient. Now, of course, there are things that CA and then testers and model master glues work best on, but there we go. 3 up, 3 down. And granted, I'm not going ahead and yanking, but you get the idea, because I am pulling on these and it's not coming apart. Alright. You don't have long to get those lined up. And because of that, if I was dealing like with this guy here, I'll end up using the CA because I can't lay that down quick enough. I don't think I can anyways, lay down quick enough to go ahead and have it dry before I assemble the parts. There we go. But yeah, if you weren't alive in 1979, Salvage 1 was an interesting show. I believe Harv Bennett was the producer of the show, back before he became involved with Star Trek, specifically Star Trek 2, 3, 4, and 5, I believe. There we go. So yeah, just confirmed, Salvage 1 was a production of Harv Bennett before he was involved with Star Trek. The show starred Andy Griffith, better known as the Sheriff of Mayberry, USA, at the time period. Although it started off as kind of a sci-fi show, it didn't really stay that too much. The lead stars, Andy Griffith being one of them, who played the role of a junk man. Joel Higgins played an ex-astronaut who got cut from NASA. Then Melanie Slozar, who was portrayed by Trisha, double checking real quick, Trish Stewart. So yeah, Trish Stewart played Melanie Slozar. She played an explosives professional. The rest of the cast portrayed former NASA scientists and engineers and launch control experts and whatnot. So the general premise of the show was that, like I said, Andy Griffith's character was a junk man. He always wanted to go ahead and salvage the moon. And when NASA was going ahead and laying off its scientists and its engineers after the Apollo missions ended in the early 70s, he hired them, supposedly paid them more than what they were worth as far as junk men were concerned. And then ultimately the time came for him to go ahead and do his mission. So he talked to his people, and his people were like, yeah, you've been paying us more than a decent wage. Maybe it's time you go ahead and make do on the profits of your investments with all of us. So as I kind of said a moment ago, when I started this build, yes, Falcor, that they took parts of various different equipment that they had there, including, like I said, a cement mixer, a Texaco gas, there we go, gas tanker that would go, of course, from gas station to gas station. Luckily this was post embargo time period in the earlier part of the 70s when gas prices were going outrageous at that point, at least in comparison to nowadays. They were going crazy back then, you know, odd even selling of gas, but so they went ahead and assembled the parts, and with the help of Melanie Slozar's character, or Trish Stewart's character, they were able to go ahead and design a very special fuel, because all they had was the room in this Texaco tanker to go ahead and get to the moon and back. So they couldn't use standard rocket fuel. They had to design their own. And what they designed was a product called monohydrazine. Supposedly unstable at room temperature. Back for right now. Battery ran out. Battery ran out, so been working on the base for the Apollo lunar module. A lot of stuff to very carefully remove, otherwise you end up removing some of the support structure for the lunar lander. So don't want to do that. But we've got the engine modules. They're all glued together. We've got the 3 bell housings completed. So I'm in the process of removing the flashing that comes along with these particular prints. As you can see, you know, from right here, there's a lot of excess to remove. And that's part of the reason why I do have my clippers out, as well as my tweezers to help remove them. So, having fun. I don't want to remove too much, like I said. Otherwise, I'll have to reprint. And that can always be a lot of fun. And given the fact that the Nomad body that's in the printer is about a 17, if I remember correctly, 17-hour print. It'll be a while before the printer is free. So, but you get the idea. Here's the armatures for the legs. Here on this piece here, you'll see that there are the pads. These will go ahead and hook into. Oops. Like that. Here is the engine bell that goes on the bottom. And come on, fingers, hold it in there. So it'll look kind of like that. And that'll be placed over here just to the side of the Vulture. Now, I realize that this may look a little bit strange as far as the scale, but believe it or not, those are scaled actually to roughly the same size. There's not much, because originally the lunar lander would have stood about yay tall, and just enough fuel to go ahead and just take off. Remember, the Vulture, its idea was to go ahead and launch, and it was all a single stage. So, and then here's roughly the I keep wanting to refer to it as the rover, but it's not a rover. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, though. So, anyways, it's printed off. I've actually got two different ones here. I may do this one because it actually looks a little bit nicer, actually. But you get the idea. So, still making progress. Back in a bit.